I only started doing this in October and I got kind of addicted to it quite quickly. Within a couple of weeks my house was just full of lampshades, so my boyfriend cracked it and said I had to start selling them.
I started doing it when I was throwing out a gin bottle one day, and I looked at the design that was on the bottle and I just had it in my hand and I started looking at it thinking, someone's put a lot of effort into designing that and producing it, and maybe there's something else that can come out of it.
Vinny's old man came up with a bit of an idea, and then he started building one, and then friends saw one and I jumped on board and helped out, and the rest is history. Now we're sitting here on a Chesterfield being interviewed.
My name's Kerry. My business is Lovely Lady Lamps, and I basically make my own lampshades out of vintage or retro fabrics. I pair them up with a lot of vintage bases as well, which I hunt day and night for.
The suitcase had a lot of qualities that were similar to a traditional speaker in terms of the boxing and shape. Aesthetically, ended up being a really cool new design that was in line with that trend of upcycling and revisiting vintage.
Melbourne loves vintage and Melbourne loves recycled, and you know, drinking out of jars and all that kind of stuff is has always been popular in Melbourne, probably more than other cities or other areas within Australia.
My name's Ruben.
And my name's Vincent.
The company name is Sombrelise, and we make the jute case.
We use vintage speakers because they sounded incredible. They were made from wonderful materials that were long lasting, and aesthetically they matched the era that we were trying to recreate.
I get a different sense of satisfaction out of making something that's really, really artistic and unique, and that someone says, you know, this is mine and this is beautiful and this is something that no one else has.
Things nowadays aren't made nearly as well, a lot of the time, as they were 20, 30, 40 years ago.
They're just made better, and you know, you can really tell the difference between a beautiful vintage pottery base and something that's just made cheaply overseas and imported now. So people are looking for that for that vintage touch to their home.
I mean, we did look around in the beginning at a few other sort of newer speakers, and they kind of just looked plastic and tacky. It doesn't quite have the same romance about it.
So my name is Dan Wilson. My business is Twice Drunk, and I make glass homewares and lamps from recycled wine and spirit bottles, and I use all recycled materials here in Melbourne.
In the beginning, I guess we did a lot of running around op shops and antique wholesalers and garage sales, and kind of anywhere we could in the beginning.
I have a couple of bars and restaurants that put stuff aside. I go scrounging sometimes, I guess you would call it, bin raiding I call it.
Fabrics I find all over the world, just depending on what I like. I get bark cloth from Hawaii, or I might get a vintage fabric from someone in England. It's different week by week. And as far as the lamp bases go, they are, they're few and far between. There's not very many vintage lamp bases out there, so that's probably the hardest part of my job.
I think there's a growing sense and awareness of the need for us to think more sustainably.
We are part of an upcycling movement in Melbourne, which is full of very vibrant and creative people.
I've been in Melbourne for 5 years, and since I've been here I've noticed that the community here is really, really interested in making use of what we have already, rather than bringing new products in.
I would like to think that people's attitude will change to when something breaks, or when you think that you need something in your house, your first thought isn't, I'm going to go to IKEA and buy something. Your first thought is there another way that I can fill that need with something in my house?
We like to promote the idea that people have something that is long lasting, and it's not, it doesn't have the planned obsolescence of a new product that is something that you have 2 years with and you throw away. We want to know that these things can last forever.